My dear students, welcome back to our channel. Students, in this video I am explaining MBA first semester. Subject Economics for Managers. Important long questions and answers. Let's start quick revision. First unit. First important long question is: examine the nature and scope of managerial economics. Nature of managerial economics. Managerial economics is the application of economic concepts to solve practical business problems. It connects theoretical economic principles with real-world business decisions, helping managers make informed choices. The nature of managerial economics is: 1. Microeconomic foundation. Managerial economics is primarily based on microeconomics, which looks at individual markets, consumer behavior, and firm production decisions. For example, it helps businesses decide how much to produce, how to price their products, and how to manage costs to maximize profits. 2. Decision-making. The core purpose of managerial economics is to assist managers in making decisions that improve the performance and profitability of a business. It involves analyzing market trends, demand, costs, and competition to make informed decisions. For example, a manager may use economic analysis to decide whether to invest in new equipment or expand production capacity. 3. Problem-solving approach. Managerial economics provides tools for identifying business problems, analyzing them, and finding solutions. For example, if a company is facing declining sales, managerial economics can help identify whether it's due to high prices, poor product quality, or increased competition. 4. Optimization. It focuses on finding the best solutions to business challenges. For instance, a company may use managerial economics to determine the optimal price for a product or the best mix of labor and capital to minimize costs and maximize output. Scope of managerial economics. The scope of managerial economics covers several areas critical for business success. 1. Demand analysis and forecasting. This helps businesses understand consumer behavior and predict future demand. For example, a retail business might use demand forecasting to determine how many units of a product to order based on past sales and trends. 2. Production and cost analysis. It helps businesses analyze production methods, costs, and efficiency. For instance, a factory may assess whether switching to automated machines will reduce costs and increase production. 3. Pricing decisions. Managerial economics aids in setting the right price for products and services based on market conditions, competition, and cost structure. For example, an airline may adjust its ticket prices depending on demand and competitors' pricing. 4. Market structure and competition. It helps businesses understand market types like monopoly, oligopoly, or perfect competition and adjust strategies accordingly. For example, a company in an oligopoly market might focus on advertising and differentiating its products to compete with a few dominant players. In conclusion, managerial economics is essential for business decision-making, providing tools to analyze and solve problems, optimize resources, and improve profitability in a competitive market. Next important long question is: explain how managerial economics has its roots in economics and management. Does it have any link with other subjects? Managerial economics Roots in economics and management. Managerial economics is a branch of economics that applies economic concepts, theories, and methodologies to solve practical business problems. It has strong roots in both economics and management, using principles from both fields to guide decision-making. Roots in economics. Managerial economics is deeply connected to economics, especially microeconomics. Microeconomics focuses on the behavior of individual consumers and firms. For example, understanding how demand and supply interact helps businesses determine the optimal price for their products. A company can use concepts like price elasticity, how demand changes with price, to set prices that maximize profit. Economic tools such as cost-benefit analysis and marginal analysis, examining the additional cost or benefit of a decision, are fundamental in managerial economics. These tools allow managers to make efficient decisions about production, pricing, and resource allocation. Roots in management. Managerial economics also draws heavily from management principles. It focuses on making decisions that improve a company's performance and profitability. For example, in management, decisions are often made based on goals like increasing productivity, reducing costs, or expanding market share. Managerial economics provides the analytical framework for these decisions by applying economic theory to real-world business situations. For instance, a manager might use marginal cost analysis to determine whether increasing production is profitable, which directly ties into management goals of cost control and resource optimization. Link with other subjects. Managerial economics is closely related to several other fields. 1. Finance. Economic principles help managers make financial decisions, such as investment planning, funding options, and risk management. For example, understanding the time value of money helps managers decide whether to invest in long-term projects. 2. Marketing. Managerial economics aids in understanding consumer behavior and market demand, which is crucial for pricing strategies and promotional efforts. For example, companies can use demand forecasting to plan marketing campaigns. 3. Operations management. Managerial economics helps businesses optimize production processes and minimize costs. For instance, determining the most efficient way to allocate resources or manage supply chains is often based on economic analysis. 4. Statistics. Business decisions are often based on data analysis. Managerial economics uses statistical tools to forecast demand, evaluate market trends, and analyze performance. Conclusion. In conclusion, managerial economics combines the principles of economics and management to help businesses make informed, effective decisions. Its link with other fields like finance, marketing, and operations makes it a multidisciplinary approach to improving business performance and profitability. Next important long question is: explain how managerial economics helps in decision making. Managerial economics and decision making. Managerial economics is a vital tool for businesses to make informed, effective decisions by applying economic concepts to real-world challenges. It helps managers allocate resources efficiently, set prices, and forecast demand, ultimately improving business performance. 1. Resource allocation. Managerial economics helps businesses decide the best way to use their limited resources, such as money, labor, and materials. For example, a company may need to decide whether to invest in new technology or hire more workers. By using cost-benefit analysis, the business can evaluate which option gives the best return on investment. 2. Pricing decisions. Setting the right price is crucial for maximizing profit. Managerial economics provides tools like demand and supply analysis to help businesses decide how much to charge for their products or services. For example, if a company knows that demand for its product is highly sensitive to price elasticity, it can set a lower price to attract more customers and increase sales. Conversely, if the product is unique and in high demand, the company might increase prices to boost revenue. 3. Demand forecasting. Managerial economics uses various techniques to predict future demand for products. Accurate demand forecasting allows businesses to plan production and inventory more effectively. For example, a company selling seasonal products like winter jackets can forecast increased demand during the colder months and prepare by stocking up on inventory in advance. 4. Cost management and profit maximization. Managerial economics helps businesses control costs and maximize profits. For instance, a company might use marginal cost analysis to determine whether it's worth producing additional units of a product. If the additional cost of production is lower than the price the product can be sold for, it's profitable to increase production. 5. Investment decisions. Managerial economics also aids in making investment choices by evaluating potential returns. Concepts like net present value, NPV, or internal rate of return, IRR, help companies decide whether to invest in new projects or expand existing operations. For example, a business may use these tools to assess if launching a new product line will bring in sufficient revenue to justify the investment. Conclusion. In conclusion, managerial economics provides essential tools for decision-making in areas like pricing, resource allocation, demand forecasting, cost management, and investment planning. By applying economic principles, businesses can make smarter decisions that lead to better efficiency, higher profits, and long-term success. Next important long question is: briefly explain about econometric models. Econometric models. Econometric models are tools used to analyze relationships between economic variables using statistical techniques. These models help economists and businesses understand how different factors, such as price or income, influence each other. By applying mathematical and statistical methods, econometric models allow us to estimate, test, and predict outcomes in the real world. How econometric models work? Econometric models take real-world data like sales, price, or income and use statistical techniques to quantify relationships. For example, a company may want to understand how advertising spending affects its sales. The econometric model could analyze historical data on both variables, helping the company estimate how much a 10% increase in advertising will affect sales. Types of econometric models. 1. Linear regression model. This is the simplest type, where the relationship between two variables is shown as a straight line. For example, a business might use a linear regression model to estimate how a product's price affects the quantity sold. 2. Multiple regression model. This model looks at how several variables affect one outcome. For example, a company could use it to analyze how price, advertising, and consumer income together impact the demand for a product. 3. Time series model. This type of model studies data over time to predict future outcomes. For example, a business might use time series models to predict future sales based on past sales trends. Example: imagine a company wants to predict how a change in the interest rate will impact consumer spending. By using data on past interest rates and spending, an econometric model, like multiple regression, can estimate the relationship and predict future spending behavior based on potential interest rate changes. Conclusion. In conclusion, econometric models help in making decisions by analyzing data and predicting how changes in one factor affect others. They are used to forecast future trends, test theories, and evaluate the impact of policies, helping businesses and policymakers make informed decisions based on data. Next important long question is: discuss the use of econometric models in decision making. Use of econometric models in decision making. Econometric models are valuable tools for making informed decisions in both businesses and governments. They combine economic theory with statistical analysis to quantify the relationship between variables, helping organizations make better choices based on data. 1. Business decision making. In business, econometric models help companies optimize pricing, marketing strategies, and production decisions. For example, a retail company can use an econometric model to understand the effect of advertising spending on sales. By analyzing historical data, the company can estimate how much additional sales they can expect from every dollar spent on advertising, allowing them to set an optimal advertising budget. Example: a coffee shop might use an econometric model to determine how raising or lowering the price of a cup of coffee will impact customer demand. With the model, they can predict whether a price increase will lead to more revenue or fewer sales, helping them make a more informed pricing decision. 2. Policy making. Governments and policymakers use econometric models to evaluate the impact of different policy options. For instance, if a government is considering raising taxes, an econometric model can estimate how this will affect consumer spending, employment, and overall economic growth. These models help policymakers understand the potential effects of their decisions before they are made. Example: a government might use an econometric model to assess how increasing the minimum wage will impact unemployment rates. By analyzing data from past wage increases, the model can predict whether higher wages will lead to more unemployment or higher consumer spending. 3. Forecasting and planning. Econometric models are also widely used to forecast future trends. Companies use them to predict future sales, while governments use them to estimate future economic indicators like GDP growth or inflation. These forecasts help organizations plan better and allocate resources effectively. Example: a car manufacturer could use econometric models to forecast the demand for new car models based on economic trends, allowing them to adjust production schedules accordingly. Conclusion. In conclusion, econometric models help in decision-making by providing data-driven insights. whether it's for setting prices, making policies, or forecasting trends. These models give businesses and governments a clearer understanding of potential outcomes, enabling more effective and informed decisions. Next, second unit. Second unit. First important long question is: explain in detail the law of diminishing marginal utility. Law of diminishing marginal utility. The law of diminishing marginal utility is an important concept in economics that explains how the satisfaction or pleasure a person gets from consuming additional units of a good or service decreases as they consume more of it. In simple terms, the more you have of something, the less satisfaction you get from each additional unit. Understanding the law. Marginal utility refers to the extra satisfaction or benefit a person receives from consuming one more unit of a product. According to the law of diminishing marginal utility, as a person consumes more of a product, the utility satisfaction gained from each new unit becomes smaller. This means that the first unit of a good you consume provides the highest satisfaction, and the satisfaction decreases with every additional unit. Example. Let's say you are eating your favorite food, pizza. The first slice of pizza gives you a lot of satisfaction because you are hungry and it tastes great. The second slice is still enjoyable but not as much as the first one. By the time you get to the fourth or fifth slice, you might start feeling full, and the satisfaction from eating decreases. If you continue eating, you might even feel uncomfortable. This is a clear example of the law of diminishing marginal utility. Another example. Imagine drinking water on a hot day. The first glass of water provides great relief and satisfaction because you were thirsty. The second glass is still refreshing but not as much as the first. By the third or fourth glass, the benefit you get from each additional glass is much smaller. Eventually, drinking more water could lead to discomfort, and the utility satisfaction decreases significantly. Conclusion. The law of diminishing marginal utility explains that as we consume more of a good, the satisfaction gained from each extra unit diminishes. This concept is crucial in understanding consumer behavior, helping individuals make better decisions about how much to consume. It also guides businesses and policymakers in setting prices, as they know consumers will not keep buying the same product if the extra satisfaction decreases with each purchase. Next important long question is: explain the determinants of demand. Determinants of demand. Demand refers to the quantity of a good or service that consumers are willing and able to buy at different prices during a certain period of time. The demand for a product doesn't only depend on its price. Several other factors, called determinants, influence how much of it people want to buy. These determinants include: 1. Price of the good. The price of a good is one of the most important factors affecting demand. Generally, as the price of a product increases, the quantity demanded decreases, and vice versa. This is called the law of demand. For example, if the price of a coffee cup increases from $2 to $5, people might buy fewer cups of coffee. 2. Income of consumers. When people's income increases, they are likely to buy more goods and services, even at higher prices. On the other hand, if income decreases, they might reduce their demand for non-essential items. For example, if a person gets a pay raise, they might buy more luxury goods like expensive clothes or gadgets. 3. Tastes and preferences. Consumers' tastes and preferences can shift over time, affecting demand. For example, if a new health trend makes people more interested in fitness, the demand for gym memberships and fitness products may increase. Similarly, if a product becomes less fashionable, demand for it may decline. 4. Price of related goods. The price of related goods, either substitutes or complements, can also affect demand. Substitutes are goods that can replace each other. For instance, if the price of coffee rises, people might start buying more tea, a substitute. Instead, complements are goods that are consumed together. For example, if the price of printers falls, the demand for ink cartridges, complementary product, may increase as more people buy printers. 5. Consumer expectations. If consumers expect prices to rise in the future, they may decide to buy more now, increasing current demand. For example, if a person expects the price of a car to increase in the next few months, they might buy the car now. 6. Population size. The size of the population and the demographic makeup can influence demand. A larger population means more potential consumers, which can increase demand. For example, a growing population might increase the demand for housing or food. Conclusion. In conclusion, demand is influenced by factors beyond just price, including income, tastes, the price of related goods, consumer expectations, and population size. Understanding these determinants helps businesses and policymakers predict changes in demand and make informed decisions. Next important long question is: explain price elasticity of demand. Price elasticity of demand, PED. Price elasticity of demand, PED, measures how sensitive the quantity demanded of a product is to changes in its price. In simple terms, it shows how much people will buy more or less of a product when its price goes up or down. Formula. The formula to calculate PED is: PED is equal to percentage change in quantity demanded percentage change in price. Types of price elasticity. 1. Elastic demand, PED. 1. When demand is elastic, consumers are very responsive to price changes. A small increase in price causes a large decrease in quantity demanded. For example, if the price of a certain brand of soda increases, many people may stop buying it and switch to a cheaper brand. This is because there are substitutes available, so the demand is elastic. Example, if the price of a movie ticket increases from $10 to $12, a 20% increase, and as a result, the number of tickets sold drops by 40%, the PED is equal to -2. Since the value of PED is greater than 1, the demand for movie tickets is elastic. 2. Inelastic demand, PED. 1. When demand is inelastic, consumers are not very sensitive to price changes. A price increase doesn't cause a significant drop in quantity demanded. For example, if the price of salt increases, people will still buy almost the same amount because salt is a necessity and has few substitutes. Example, if the price of medicine increases by 10%, but the quantity demanded decreases by only 5%, the PED is equal to -0.5. Since the value of PED is less than 1, the demand for medicine is inelastic. 3. Unitary elastic demand. PED is equal to 1 when demand is unitary elastic. The percentage change in quantity demanded is exactly equal to the percentage change in price. For example, if the price of a product increases by 10%, the quantity demanded decreases by 10%. Factors affecting PED. Availability of substitutes. If there are many substitutes, demand tends to be more elastic. Necessity versus luxury. Necessities tend to have inelastic demand, while luxuries have elastic demand. Time period. Over time, demand can become more elastic as consumers find alternatives. Conclusion. In conclusion, price elasticity of demand helps businesses and policymakers understand how price changes affect consumer behavior. Elastic demand means that small price changes lead to big changes in quantity demanded, while inelastic demand means that price changes have little effect on demand. Understanding PED allows companies to set prices strategically for maximum revenue. Next important long question is elasticity of demand, types of elasticity. Elasticity of demand and types of elasticity. Elasticity of demand refers to how much the quantity demanded of a product changes when its price changes. In simple terms, it measures how sensitive consumers are to price changes. If a small price change leads to a large change in demand, the product is said to be elastic. If demand doesn't change much with a price change, it is considered inelastic. Types of elasticity of demand. 1. Price elasticity of demand, PED. This is the most common type of elasticity, which measures how demand changes with price. Elastic demand, PED. 1. When the demand for a product is elastic, it means consumers are very responsive to price changes. A small price increase can lead to a large decrease in the quantity demanded. Example: if the price of a soft drink increases by 10% and the quantity demanded drops by 30%, the demand is elastic because the percentage change in demand is greater than the percentage change in price. Inelastic demand, PED. 1. When demand is inelastic, a price increase doesn't significantly reduce the quantity demanded. People will still buy nearly the same amount of the product even if the price rises. Example: if the price of salt increases by 5% and people continue to buy nearly the same amount, the demand is inelastic. Salt is a necessity with no close substitutes. Unitary elastic demand, PED, is equal to 1. This occurs when the percentage change in quantity demanded is exactly equal to the percentage change in price. A 10% increase in price leads to a 10% decrease in demand. Example: if the price of a concert ticket increases by 15% and the quantity demanded decreases by exactly 15%, the demand is unitary elastic. 2. Income elasticity of demand, YED. This measures how demand for a good changes as consumer income changes. Positive YED, normal goods. As income rises, demand for the product also increases. Example: luxury items like cars or vacations see higher demand as people earn more. Negative YED, inferior goods. As income increases, demand for inferior goods, cheaper alternatives, decreases. Example: as people earn more, they may buy less instant noodles and prefer fresh food instead. 3. Cross-elasticity of demand. XCD. This measures how the demand for one product changes when the price of a related product changes. It can be for substitutes. When the price of one product rises, the demand for its substitute increases. Example, if the price of coffee rises, demand for tea, a substitute, may increase. Complements. When the price of one product rises, the demand for its complement falls. Example, if the price of printers rises, the demand for ink cartridges, a complement, may decrease. Conclusion. In conclusion, elasticity of demand helps businesses and policymakers understand how price changes affect consumer behavior. The main types are price elasticity, income elasticity, and cross-elasticity, which all provide insights into how demand changes based on price, income, and related goods. Understanding these concepts helps make better pricing, marketing, and production decisions. Next important long question is: explain various methods of demand forecasting. Methods of demand forecasting. Demand forecasting is the process of predicting the future demand for a product or service. This helps businesses make informed decisions about production, inventory, and pricing. There are several methods of demand forecasting which can be broadly classified into two categories: qualitative and quantitative methods. 1. Qualitative methods. These methods rely on subjective judgment, intuition, and expert opinions. They are often used when there is little historical data available or when dealing with new products. Expert opinion method. In this method, businesses consult experts or experienced individuals to predict future demand. These experts could be employees, consultants, or industry professionals who have knowledge of market trends. Example, a new fashion brand might consult fashion designers or market analysts to predict the demand for their upcoming collection. Market research. This method involves collecting data from potential customers to understand their preferences and buying habits. This can be done through surveys, focus groups, or interviews. Example, a smartphone company may conduct surveys to find out if consumers are interested in a new model or feature before launching it. Delphi method. This is a structured approach where experts provide their forecasts individually. The results are then shared with all experts, and they are asked to revise their predictions based on feedback. This process continues for several rounds to arrive at a consensus. Example, a car manufacturer may use the Delphi method to forecast demand for a new model by consulting industry experts over several rounds. 2. Quantitative methods. These methods use historical data and statistical techniques to make forecasts. They are suitable when enough data is available. Time series analysis. This method involves analyzing historical data, sales, production, etc., over time to identify patterns and trends. The forecast is based on past behavior and assumes that future demand will follow similar patterns. Example, a retailer may use sales data from the past 5 years to predict how many products they will sell in the upcoming months. Causal method, regression analysis. This method identifies the relationship between demand and one or more independent variables, factors influencing demand. It uses statistical techniques to understand how changes in factors like price, advertising, or seasonality impact demand. Example, A company may analyze how an increase in advertising spending leads to higher sales of a product. Conclusion. In conclusion, demand forecasting methods can be qualitative or quantitative. Qualitative methods, like expert opinions and market research, are useful when there is limited historical data, while quantitative methods like time series analysis and regression are better when historical data is available. By using the right forecasting method, businesses can make informed decisions on production, pricing, and inventory management. Next, third unit. Third unit. First important long question is: define production function. How can a producer find it's useful? Production function. A production function shows the relationship between the inputs, such as labor, capital, and raw materials, and the output, the goods or services produced. In simple terms, it helps to understand how much output a producer can make using a certain amount of input. It can be expressed as output is equal to F inputs. The function helps businesses understand how efficiently they can use resources to produce goods and services. For example, a factory's production function may show how many products can be made with a certain number of workers and machines. Example, let's consider a bakery that uses flour, labor, and ovens as inputs. The production function for the bakery could look like this. Output, loaves of bread, is equal to F, flour, labor, ovens. If the bakery uses more flour and labor, it will produce more loaves of bread. However, there is a limit to how much additional output can be produced by adding more of these inputs, especially if the bakery already has enough ovens to handle the production. How a producer can use the production function. 1. Maximizing efficiency. A producer can use the production function to find the most efficient combination of inputs to produce the desired output. By analyzing the relationship between inputs and outputs, the producer can decide how much labor, capital, or materials to use to get the best results. Example, if a car manufacturer knows that using 10 workers and 5 machines produces 100 cars, they can use the production function to decide if adding more workers or machines will increase production. 2. Cost minimization. The production function helps producers minimize costs by choosing the optimal combination of inputs. If the cost of labor is higher than the cost of machines, a producer might choose to use more machines and fewer workers to reduce production costs. 3. Planning for expansion. By understanding the production function, producers can plan for business growth. If they know the inputs needed for current production levels, they can estimate the additional inputs required to expand production. Conclusion. In conclusion, a production function helps producers understand how input choices affect output levels. It is essential for maximizing efficiency, minimizing costs, and planning for future growth. By using this tool, producers can make informed decisions to enhance productivity and profitability. Next important long question is: explain in detail about Benham theory. Benham's theory of profit. Benham's theory of profit, developed by economist Walter Benham, focuses on how entrepreneurs earn profit in the competitive market. According to Benham, profits arise due to the uncertainty and risk associated with business operations. The theory is based on the assumption that in a competitive market, all firms aim to maximize their profits by making the best use of their resources. Key points of Benham's theory. 1. Risk and uncertainty. Benham's theory suggests that profits are not just a result of efficient production or management, but are primarily linked to the risks and uncertainties that entrepreneurs face. Entrepreneurs take the risk of starting and running a business, and for that risk, they expect to earn profits. Example, consider a person who invests in a new restaurant. The entrepreneur faces risks like changing consumer preferences, economic downturns, or unexpected costs. If the business succeeds, the entrepreneur earns profits. If it fails, the entrepreneur faces losses. The potential profit compensates for the risks taken. 2. Profit as a reward for bearing risk. Benham explains that entrepreneurs receive a profit as a reward for assuming the risks that other individuals or firms avoid. Entrepreneurs bear the uncertainty of the market and the possible changes in demand, costs, and competition. In this way, profits are seen as compensation for taking on this uncertainty. Example, a technology startup faces uncertainty about whether their product will be successful. If the product becomes popular, the company earns profits as a reward for the uncertainty and risk taken during the development phase. 3. Entrepreneurial ability. Benham emphasized that profit is also linked to the entrepreneur's ability to make decisions and manage risks effectively. Entrepreneurs who are better at anticipating market changes and adapting to them are more likely to earn higher profits. Example, an entrepreneur who quickly adapts to the rise of e-commerce and shifts their business online might earn higher profits compared to competitors who are slow to adapt. Conclusion. In conclusion, Benham's theory of profit explains that profits arise due to the uncertainty and risks entrepreneurs face in business. Entrepreneurs are rewarded for bearing these risks and making successful decisions. This theory highlights the importance of risk-taking and entrepreneurial ability in generating profits, making it crucial for businesses to manage risks effectively in competitive markets. Next important long question is: discuss the law of returns to scale with the help of a suitable example. Law of returns to scale. The law of returns to scale explains how the output of a firm changes when all its inputs, like labor, capital, and raw materials, are increased by the same proportion. Unlike the law of diminishing returns, which looks at changes in output with only one input changing, returns to scale examines how the firm's production changes when all inputs are increased at the same time. The law is divided into 3 phases. 1. Increasing returns to scale. This occurs when a firm increases all of its inputs, example, labor, machinery, raw materials, by a certain percentage and the output increases by a greater percentage. In other words, the firm becomes more efficient as it grows. Example: imagine a bakery that initially produces 100 loaves of bread with 5 workers and 5 ovens. If the bakery doubles its inputs, 10 workers and 10 ovens, the bakery may be able to produce 220 loaves instead of just 200. In this case, output increased more than the input, showing increasing returns to scale. 2. Constant returns to scale. This happens when a firm increases all inputs by a certain percentage, and the output increases by exactly the same percentage. There's no significant change in efficiency as the firm grows larger. Example: if the bakery doubles its workers and ovens from 5 workers and 5 ovens to 10 workers and 10 ovens, and the output increases from 100 to 200 loaves. Double the original output, the firm experiences constant returns to scale. The output increases in direct proportion to the increase in inputs. 3. Decreasing returns to scale. This occurs when a firm increases all inputs by a certain percentage, but the output increases by a smaller percentage. The firm's efficiency starts to decline as it grows larger. Example: if the bakery doubles its inputs, 10 workers and 10 ovens, but it only produces 180 loaves, less than double the original output, the bakery experiences decreasing returns to scale. The firm is becoming less efficient as it expands. Conclusion. In conclusion, the law of returns to scale helps businesses understand how their production changes as they increase inputs. In the early stages, firms may experience increasing returns to scale, but after a certain point, they may face constant or even decreasing returns. Understanding this law is essential for firms when deciding how to expand production and manage efficiency. Next important long question is: explain different types of cost. Types of costs. In economics and business, understanding the different types of costs is crucial for making decisions about production and pricing. Costs can be classified into several categories based on different factors, such as time frame and weather. The costs change with production levels. 1. Fixed costs. Fixed costs are costs that do not change with the level of production. These costs remain constant regardless of how much a firm produces. They must be paid even if no goods are produced. Example: a bakery rents a shop for $1,000 per month. Whether the bakery bakes 10 loaves or 100 loaves, the rent remains the same. Rent, salaries of permanent staff, and insurance are examples of fixed costs. 2. Variable costs. Variable costs change with the level of production. When a company produces more, variable costs increase. When production decreases, these costs also decrease. Example: in the bakery, the cost of ingredients like flour and sugar is a variable cost. If the bakery bakes more loaves, the cost of these ingredients increases. If fewer loaves are baked, the ingredient costs decrease. 3. Total cost. Total cost is the sum of fixed costs and variable costs. It represents the overall cost of production. Example: if the bakery's fixed costs, rent, are $1,000 and the variable costs, ingredients, for 100 loaves are $500, the total cost is $1,500. 4. Average cost per unit cost. Average cost is the total cost divided by the number of units produced. It shows the cost of producing each unit of a good or service. Example: if the bakery produces 100 loaves with a total cost of $1,500, the average cost per loaf is $1,500 divided by 100 is equal to $15 per loaf. 5. Marginal cost. Marginal cost is the additional cost incurred when producing one more unit of output. It helps businesses understand the cost of increasing production by one unit. Example: If the bakery increases production from 100 loaves to 101 loaves, and the total cost increases by $10, the marginal cost of the 101st loaf is $10. 6. Opportunity cost. Opportunity cost refers to the cost of the next best alternative that is foregone when a decision is made. Example: if the bakery owner decides to spend time baking instead of doing marketing, the opportunity cost is the potential sales the bakery could have gained from more customers. Conclusion: understanding the different types of costs is essential for businesses to manage resources efficiently, set prices, and make decisions about production. Fixed costs remain constant, variable costs change with output, and total costs include both. Average cost helps determine unit prices, while marginal cost guides decisions on increasing or decreasing production. Opportunity cost helps weigh alternatives when making decisions. Next important long question is: discuss briefly the forces which affect the cost behavior in long run. Forces affecting cost behavior in the long run. In the long run, a firm can adjust all its inputs, including labor, capital, and technology, unlike in the short run when some factors remain fixed. Various factors affect cost behavior in the long run, and understanding these forces is essential for businesses to plan and make strategic decisions. Here are the key forces. 1. Economies of scale. Economies of scale occur when a firm increases production, causing its long-run average cost per unit to fall. As a business grows, it can use its resources more efficiently, leading to lower costs. This happens due to factors such as bulk purchasing, specialized labor, and more efficient machinery. Example: a car manufacturer that produces 100 cars per month may face a higher cost per car than when it produces 1,000 cars per month. With higher production, the company can buy parts in bulk, automate more processes, and reduce the average cost of each car. 2. Diseconomies of scale. Diseconomies of scale arise when a firm becomes too large and experiences higher per unit costs as it grows. This often happens due to coordination issues, inefficiencies in management, and overuse of resources. Example: if the same car manufacturer grows too large and has to manage too many production units, it may struggle with communication and decision-making, which can lead to higher costs per car, despite the larger scale of operations. 3. Technological advancements. Technological progress plays a significant role in cost behavior. New technologies can lower production costs, improve efficiency, and help firms reduce resource usage. Example: a factory upgrading from manual labor to automated machinery can significantly reduce labor costs and improve output efficiency in the long run, thus lowering overall production costs. 4. Input costs. In the long run, the prices of inputs like raw materials, energy, and labor can change. An increase in the price of raw materials or labor can lead to higher production costs. Example: if the price of steel rises, the cost of manufacturing cars will increase even if the firm produces more efficiently. This can affect the firm's overall cost structure in the long run. 5. Market competition. Increased competition can force firms to innovate and reduce costs to stay competitive. Conversely, a monopolistic market may allow firms to keep costs high. Example: In a competitive smartphone market, companies need to reduce production costs and improve efficiency to offer lower prices, which could result in lower long-run costs. Conclusion. In the long run, a firm's cost behavior is influenced by factors like economies of scale, diseconomies of scale, technological advancements, input costs, and market competition. Firms can benefit from expanding production and adopting new technologies, but they must be cautious about becoming too large and facing inefficiencies. Understanding these forces helps businesses plan for sustainable growth and cost management. Next, fourth unit. Fourth unit. First important long question is: explain the classification of markets. Classification of markets. Markets can be classified in various ways based on factors such as competition, the nature of the product, and the number of buyers and sellers. Understanding the classification of markets helps businesses understand the competitive environment they operate in and make strategic decisions. 1. Based on competition. Perfect competition. In perfect competition, many buyers and sellers exist, and they all sell identical products. No single firm has control over the price, and the prices are determined by supply and demand. Firms can easily enter or exit the market. Example: the market for agricultural products like wheat or rice is often considered a perfectly competitive market. Many farmers sell identical products and the prices are set by the market. Monopolistic competition. In monopolistic competition, there are many sellers, but each one sells a slightly differentiated product. While firms have some control over prices, the competition is still high and firms can easily enter or exit the market. Example: the fast food industry is an example. Companies like McDonald's, Burger King, and Wendy's sell similar but slightly differentiated products, burgers, fries, etc., and compete for market share. Oligopoly. An oligopoly is a market dominated by a few large sellers. These firms have significant control over the price, and their decisions affect the market. Barriers to entry are high, and firms may collaborate or compete aggressively. Example: the automobile industry, with major companies like Ford, Toyota, and General Motors, is an oligopoly. These companies control a significant portion of the market, and their pricing decisions impact each other. Monopoly. A monopoly occurs when a single firm controls the entire market for a product or service. This firm has significant control over pricing, and barriers to entry are usually high, making it difficult for new competitors to enter the market. Example: a local utility company that provides water or electricity in a specific region can be considered a monopoly, as there are no competitors offering the same service. 2. Based on nature of the product. Commodity markets. These markets deal with raw materials or basic agricultural products like oil, gold, or cotton. The products are usually standardized, meaning one unit is identical to another. Example: the global market for crude oil is a commodity market where one barrel of oil is essentially the same as another. Consumer goods markets. These markets involve the buying and selling of goods that directly satisfy consumer needs, such as food, clothing, and electronics. Example: supermarkets and electronics stores are part of the consumer goods market. where products are sold to consumers for personal use. Conclusion. Markets are classified based on competition, product nature, and other factors. Understanding the type of market helps firms decide pricing, marketing, and production strategies. A perfect competition market has many sellers and identical products, while monopolies are dominated by one seller. Monopolistic. Competition and oligopolies are in between, with some control over prices and barriers to entry. Next important long question is: explain price and output determination under perfect competition. Price and output determination under perfect competition. In a perfectly competitive market, many firms sell identical products and no single firm has any control over the market price. Prices and output are determined by the forces of supply and demand. Here's a simple explanation. Characteristics of perfect competition. 1. Many buyers and sellers. There are numerous buyers and sellers in the market, all selling the same product. 2. Identical products. The goods or services offered by each firm are identical, meaning no firm can differentiate its product from others. 3. Free entry and exit. Firms can easily enter or exit the market without any restrictions or high costs. 4. Price taker. Individual firms in perfect competition are price takers. They have no influence on the market price and must accept the price determined by overall market supply and demand. Price determination. In perfect competition, the price is determined by the interaction of supply and demand in the entire market. The equilibrium price is the price at which the quantity demanded by consumers equals the quantity supplied by producers. At this price, there is no surplus or shortage of goods. Example, let's say there's a perfectly competitive market for wheat. The demand for wheat is high, so the price rises, encouraging more farmers to grow wheat. As more wheat is supplied, the price starts to stabilize when it matches the demand at the equilibrium level. If demand falls, prices will drop, leading farmers to produce less wheat. Output determination. In the short run, firms in a perfectly competitive market adjust their output to maximize profit. Firms will continue producing until their marginal cost, MC, equals the market price, P. If a firm's price is higher than its average cost, AC, it will make a profit. If the price is lower than the average cost, the firm will incur a loss. Example, suppose a firm's cost of producing 1 unit of wheat is $5. If the market price for wheat is $6, the firm will produce as long as the price covers its marginal cost, earning a profit. In the long run, firms will enter or exit the market based on whether there are profits or losses, leading to a normal profit. Equilibrium. Conclusion. Under perfect competition, the market price is determined by supply and demand. Individual firms accept this price and adjust their output to maximize profit. In the long run, firms enter or exit the market, ensuring that firms earn only normal profit in equilibrium. Next important long question is: what is monopolistic competition? Explain the features of monopolistic competition. Monopolistic competition. Monopolistic competition is a type of market structure that lies between perfect competition and monopoly. In this market, many firms sell similar but slightly differentiated products. Each firm has some control over its prices due to product differentiation, but there is still significant competition from other firms. Features of monopolistic competition. 1. Many sellers. In monopolistic competition, there are many firms in the market, each offering a similar product. However, these firms are not perfect substitutes for each other because of product differentiation. Example. The market for fast food is a good example. While McDonald's, Burger King, and Wendy's all sell burgers and fries, each has its unique taste, brand, and customer experience. 2. Product differentiation. Each firm in a monopolistic competition market sells a product that is different from others, but the differences are not too large. This differentiation can be in terms of quality, design, branding, or other features. Example. In the smartphone market, Apple, Samsung, and Google all sell smartphones. But each has different features, designs, and operating systems. Consumers can choose based on their preferences. 3. Free entry and exit. Like in perfect competition, there are no significant barriers to entry or exit in a monopolistic competition market. New firms can easily enter if there are profits to be made, and existing firms can leave if they are incurring losses. Example. If a new bakery sees that a nearby bakery is doing well, it can easily open its own shop and compete, offering unique cakes or pastries. 4. Some price control. Firms in monopolistic competition have some control over their prices due to product differentiation. However, their power is limited because consumers can switch to other similar products. Example. A restaurant in a city may charge slightly higher prices for its food because of its unique menu, but if the prices are too high, customers can switch to another restaurant nearby. 5. Non-price competition. Firms often engage in non-price competition by advertising, offering promotions, or improving their products to attract customers. This is because they cannot compete solely on price due to product differentiation. Example. Mobile phone companies often use advertising, celebrity endorsements, and discounts to differentiate their products rather than simply reducing prices. Conclusion. Monopolistic competition is characterized by many firms selling differentiated products with some control over pricing. Though there is competition, firms still have the freedom to differentiate their products to attract customers. This market structure allows for both product variety and consumer choice while ensuring that firms remain competitive. Next important long question is: how is price output determined under monopolistic competition? Price and output determination under monopolistic competition. In monopolistic competition, many firms sell similar but differentiated products. Each firm has some control over its prices, but the degree of control is limited by the availability of close substitutes. The price and output decisions of firms in this market structure depend on both the demand for their products and their costs. Short-run price and output determination. In the short run, a firm in monopolistic competition will set its price and output based on its goal of maximizing profit. The firm produces at the level where its marginal cost, MC, equals its marginal revenue, MR. 1. Profit maximization. To maximize profit, the firm chooses the quantity of output where the marginal cost, MC, of producing an additional unit is equal to the marginal revenue, MR, it earns from selling that unit. Once the quantity is determined, the firm sets the price by looking at the demand curve for that level of output. Example. Let's say a local coffee shop determines that producing 100 cups of coffee per day at a cost of $2 per cup will earn it a profit when the price is set at $5 per cup. Here, the coffee shop's marginal cost equals marginal revenue at this output level, and it will produce 100 cups at $5 each. To profit or loss in the short run, if the price the firm can charge from the demand curve is higher than its average total cost, ATC, the firm will make a profit. If the price is lower than the ATC, the firm will incur a loss. Example. If the coffee shop's total cost for 100 cups is $400 and it sells the 100 cups at $5 each, total revenue is equal to $500, it will make a profit of $100. Long-run price and output determination. In the long run, if firms in monopolistic competition make a profit, new firms will enter the market. This entry increases competition and reduces the demand for each firm's product. As new firms enter, the demand curve faced by each firm becomes flatter and the firm's demand curve shifts downward. 1. Normal profit in the long run. In the long run, due to free entry and exit, firms in monopolistic competition will only make normal profits, 0. Economic profit. If firms are earning profits in the short run, new firms will enter, driving the price down. If firms are making losses, some firms will exit, causing the price to rise. Example. If the coffee shop is making profits, new coffee shops may open nearby, leading to lower demand for the original shop's coffee. Eventually, the price and quantity will adjust so that the coffee shop earns normal profits where price equals average total cost, P is equal to ATC. Conclusion. In monopolistic competition, firms set their price and output to maximize profit. In the short run, where MC is equal to MR, in the long run, due to free entry and exit, firms will earn only normal profits and prices will adjust accordingly. Competition, product differentiation, and the entry of new firms play key roles in determining price and output in this market structure. Next important long question is: explain price determination under oligopoly. Price determination under oligopoly. Oligopoly is a market structure characterized by a small number of large firms that dominate the market. In this structure, each firm has significant control over the price of its product, but the price determination is not as straightforward as in perfect competition or monopoly. Since the firms are interdependent, their pricing and output decisions depend on the actions of their competitors. Features of oligopoly. 1. Few firms. A few large firms dominate the market, and each firm has a large market share. 2. Interdependence. Firms are aware of each other's actions. A change in price by one firm can lead to responses from the other firms. 3. Barriers to entry. High entry barriers prevent new firms from easily entering the market. Price determination process. 1. Price rigidity. Sticky prices in oligopolistic markets. Prices tend to be stable or sticky because firms are reluctant to change prices. If one firm changes its price, the others may follow suit, leading to price wars. which can harm all firms by reducing profits. Example: in the airline industry, if one airline cuts its ticket prices, others may follow too. Avoid losing customers. This keeps prices stable, as firms do not want to engage in a price war that would lower their profits. 2. Kinked demand curve model. According to the kinked demand curve model, firms in an oligopoly face a demand curve that is more elastic if they raise prices and less elastic if they lower prices. This leads to price stability. If a firm raises its prices, competitors won't follow, causing the firm to lose many customers. But if the firm lowers prices, competitors will match the price cut, leading to only a small increase in market share. Example: in the soft drink market, if Coca-Cola raises its price, Pepsi and other brands may not follow, causing Coca-Cola to lose customers. But if Coca-Cola lowers its price, Pepsi will also reduce its price, and Coca-Cola will gain few new customers. 3. Collusion and cartels. In some cases, firms may collude to set prices together, either explicitly, forming a cartel, or implicitly, to avoid competition. This is illegal in many countries, but still occurs in some markets. Example: OPEC, Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, is an example of a cartel, where member countries agree on oil production levels and prices to maximize collective profits. Conclusion: price determination in an oligopoly is influenced by the interdependence of firms. Firms are cautious about changing prices due to potential reactions from competitors. The kinked demand curve model and possible collusion explain why prices remain relatively stable. In this market structure, firms may avoid price wars but still compete in non-price ways, such as through advertising or product differentiation. Next important long question is: explain overview of Agriculture Market Committees, AMCs. Overview of Agriculture Market Committees, AMCs. Agriculture Market Committees, AMCs, are institutions set up by the government in various states of India to regulate and promote the fair trade of agricultural products. They aim to ensure farmers receive fair prices for their produce while preventing exploitation by middlemen or traders. AMCs help in creating a structured market for agricultural goods. Key features of AMCs. 1. Market regulation. AMCs regulate the functioning of markets where farmers sell their produce, ensuring transparency and fairness in pricing. These markets, often called mandis, are where farmers bring their goods and traders purchase them. Example: in Punjab, the Abohar Mandi is regulated by the AMC, where farmers bring wheat and other crops, and traders buy them at fair prices, set under the committee's guidance. 2. Price control. AMCs help in setting the minimum support price, MSP, for various crops. The MSP acts as a price floor, ensuring that farmers don't sell their goods below a certain price, thereby protecting them from losses. Example: if the government sets the MSP for paddy at 1,500 rupee per quintal, the AMC ensures that traders do not buy it for less than this price in the mandi. 3. Market infrastructure. AMCs also play a role in developing the infrastructure of agricultural markets by providing facilities like storage, cold storage, transportation, and weighing scales. This infrastructure ensures the smooth and efficient flow of goods. Example: the Azadpur Mandi in Delhi is one of the largest in Asia, and it is regulated by an AMC that ensures proper storage and transportation of fruits and vegetables. 4. Reduction of middlemen. AMCs help to reduce the role of middlemen, who often exploit farmers by offering lower prices. By creating a more organized market, AMCs ensure that farmers receive better compensation for their hard work. Example: farmers selling directly at the mandi instead of through middlemen can often get better prices for their produce, as AMCs ensure a transparent transaction process. Conclusion: Agriculture Market Committees, AMCs, play a vital role in the agriculture sector. By regulating markets, setting fair prices, and providing necessary infrastructure, they aim to protect the interests of farmers by reducing exploitation and ensuring better trading conditions in the agricultural sector. Next, fifth unit. Fifth unit. First important long question is: briefly explain the measurement of national income. Measurement of national income. National income is the total value of all goods and services produced by a country over a specific period, usually a year. It helps in understanding the economic health of a nation, guiding policymakers in decision-making. There are three main methods used to measure national income: the production method, the income method, and the expenditure method. 1. Production method, output method. This method measures national income by calculating the total value of goods and services produced within the country. It adds up the value added at each stage of production to avoid double counting. Example: if a company produces cars and sells them, the value added to the economy is the difference between the sale price and the cost of raw materials. The sum of all such added values from all sectors like agriculture, manufacturing, and services gives the national income. 2. Income method. This method calculates national income by adding up all the incomes earned in the country. These include wages, rent, interest, and profits. The total income earned by individuals and businesses is used to calculate the national income. Example: if a factory worker earns 30,000 rupees annually, a landowner receives 10,000 rupees in rent, and a business owner makes 50,000 rupees in profits. The sum of these incomes, 30,000 rupees plus 10,000 rupees plus 50,000 rupees, is equal to 90,000 rupees, contributes to the national income. 3. Expenditure method. This method measures national income by adding up all the spending on goods and services in the economy. It includes consumption expenditure, investment expenditure, government spending, and net exports, exports minus imports. Example: if households spend 50,000 rupees on goods, businesses invest 20,000 rupees in new machinery, the government spends 40,000 rupees on infrastructure, and the country exports 10,000 rupee worth of goods while importing 5,000 rupees. The national income would be the total expenditure, 50,000 rupees plus 20,000 rupees plus 40,000 rupees plus 10,000 rupees. 5,000 rupees is equal to 115,000 rupees. Conclusion: national income can be measured using three different methods: the production method, income method, and expenditure method. Each method provides a different perspective on the economy, but they all aim to determine the total economic output and activity of a nation over a given period. These measurements help in assessing a country's economic performance and making informed policy decisions. Next important long question is: explain about Keynesian approach to the determination employment and investment. Keynesian approach to the determination of employment and investment. The Keynesian approach, developed by economist John Maynard Keynes, focuses on how aggregate demand, total demand for goods and services in the economy, determines the level of employment and investment in the economy. According to Keynes, the economy does not always operate at full employment, and government intervention is necessary to manage demand and stabilize the economy. Determination of employment. Keynes argued that employment levels in an economy depend largely on aggregate demand. When aggregate demand is high, businesses expand production, requiring more workers, which leads to higher employment. Conversely, when demand is low, businesses cut back on production and reduce the number of workers, leading to unemployment. Example, during a recession, if consumer spending drops due to lower income or confidence, businesses experience lower demand for their goods. As a result, businesses may lay off workers. This leads to further reduction in income and demand, creating a vicious cycle. Keynes suggested that in such situations, government spending can stimulate demand and increase employment. Determination of investment. Investment, according to Keynes, is influenced by two main factors: the rate of interest and business expectations. When the interest rate is low, borrowing becomes cheaper, encouraging businesses to invest in new projects, machinery, and expansion. However, even with low interest rates, investment depends on the business outlook. If businesses lack confidence in future demand, they may hesitate to invest. Example, if the government cuts interest rates to make borrowing cheaper, businesses might invest more in factories or new technologies. But if businesses are unsure about the future due to political instability or uncertainty in demand, they may still not invest much, even if borrowing is cheap. Conclusion. In the Keynesian model, employment and investment are determined by the level of aggregate demand. When demand falls, both employment and investment decrease, leading to higher unemployment. To combat this, Keynes advocated for government intervention, such as increasing public spending or reducing taxes to boost demand, restore confidence, and promote investment and job creation. Next important long question is: define inflation. Explain the various types of inflation. Inflation, definition and types. Inflation refers to the continuous increase in the general price level of goods and services in an economy over a period of time. As inflation rises, the purchasing power of money falls, meaning that people can buy less with the same amount of money. A moderate amount of inflation is considered normal in a growing economy, but high inflation can have negative effects. Types of inflation. 1. Demand pull inflation. This type of inflation occurs when the demand for goods and services exceeds the economy's ability to produce them. As demand outstrips supply, prices rise. It is often seen in economies that are growing quickly. Example: if the economy is booming and people have more money to spend, the demand for goods like cars, homes, and electronics increases. However, if producers can't keep up with this demand, the prices of these goods rise. 2. Cost push inflation. Cost push inflation happens when the cost of production increases, leading to higher prices for goods and services. This can occur due to rising wages, higher raw material costs, or increased taxes on producers. Example: if the price of oil rises, transportation costs increase, and businesses may raise prices for goods to cover these higher costs, resulting in inflation. 3. Built-in inflation. Wage price inflation. Built-in inflation is the result of a feedback loop between wages and prices. Workers demand higher wages to keep up with the rising cost of living. In turn, businesses raise prices to cover higher wage costs, leading to further inflation. Example: if workers get wage increases, they have more money to spend, driving up demand for goods. This may lead businesses to raise prices to cover the increased labor costs, resulting in further inflation. 4. Hyperinflation. Hyperinflation is an extremely high and typically accelerating inflation rate. It can lead to a collapse in the value of the currency. This usually happens in situations of severe economic instability, such as after wars or during political crisis. Example: in Zimbabwe in the late 2000s, hyperinflation reached ridiculous levels, with prices doubling every few hours, leading to the collapse of the country's currency. Conclusion: inflation can be caused by demand factors, cost factors, or a combination of both. While moderate inflation is normal, excessive inflation can harm the economy by reducing purchasing power and creating uncertainty. Managing inflation through monetary and fiscal policies is crucial for economic stability. Next important long question is: define budget. Explain the union budget of current year. Budget definition and the union budget of 2025 to 26. What is a budget? A budget is a financial plan that outlines expected income and expenditures over a specific period, typically a year. For governments, it details how public funds will be allocated to various sectors, aiming to achieve economic stability, growth, and development. Union Budget of 2025 to 26, key highlights. On 1st February 2025, India's Finance Minister presented the Union Budget for the fiscal year 2025 to 26, focusing on inclusive growth, economic resilience, and empowerment of various sectors. 1. Tax reforms. Personal income tax. The budget introduced significant tax relief for the middle class. Individuals with an annual income up to 12 lakh rupees are now exempt from personal income tax, effectively increasing disposable income and stimulating consumption. For salaried taxpayers, this limit extends to 12.75 lakh rupees due to a standard deduction of 75,000 rupees. 2. Support for agriculture and rural development. Agricultural growth initiatives were launched to boost agricultural productivity, including a national mission aimed at enhancing crop yields and introducing advanced farming techniques. Rural prosperity programs to improve rural infrastructure, such as better roads and irrigation facilities, were announced to support farmers and rural communities. 3. Manufacturing and Make in India. Boosting manufacturing, the budget allocated funds to promote domestic manufacturing, aiming to reduce reliance on imports and create jobs. This includes incentives for industries like electronics and textiles. Make in India initiative support was extended to the Make in India campaign, encouraging foreign and domestic investments in manufacturing sectors. 4. Education and skill development. Investment in education. The government emphasized education and skill development as key areas for investment, recognizing the transformative potential of human capital in India. Announcements included strengthening the Anganwadi program, expanding the capacity of IITs and medical colleges, setting up world-class skill centers, and creating a center of excellence for AI in education. 5. Energy and infrastructure. Energy security measures were introduced to secure energy supplies, including investments in renewable energy sources and nuclear power. The government plans to expand nuclear capacity to 100 gigawatts in 2 decades, addressing key issues obstructing nuclear development. Infrastructure development. The budget allocated funds for infrastructure projects such as building new roads, bridges, and urban development initiatives to stimulate economic growth and create employment opportunities. 6. Foreign investment and trade. Attracting foreign investment. The budget proposed measures to attract foreign direct investment, FDI, including raising the FDI limit in the insurance sector to 100%, aiming to deepen market penetration and enhance competition. Promoting exports. Strategies were outlined to boost exports, focusing on sectors like textiles, pharmaceuticals, and information technology to strengthen India's position in global markets. Conclusion. The Union Budget of 2025-26 reflects the government's commitment to fostering inclusive growth, enhancing economic resilience, and empowering various sectors. By implementing these measures, the government aims to stimulate economic activity, create employment opportunities, and improve the standard of living for all citizens.